Now available, paperback and Kindle Unlimited. ISIS, the main event. It's carnage inside of a steel cage when the goddess next door steps in the squared circle with the beast from the boss in this action-packed all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS, the main event, paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. Better get the coleslaw, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue. Sunday, I was shocked when I saw that wrestler R-Truth had been released by the WWE. Now, according to reports, R-Truth, also known as Ron Killings, was told that his contract would not be renewed, and he went to social media to let everybody know that he was going to be released by the WWE. Now, this release of R-Truth or Ron Killings was considered to be very shocking because R-Truth basically had been utilized on television regularly for the last few years, and he had then recently featured in a feud with John Cena that culminated in a match on Saturday night's main event. And the 53-year-old wrestler was incredibly over, not only with fans, but was also over in the WWE locker room, and basically was considered to be a well-liked staple by not only wrestlers, but by management as well. And that's what makes this release of R-Truth really baffling as related to WWE, because WWE has been releasing a lot of wrestlers who basically were either in the middle of storylines, like in the case of Gigi Dolan and Shotzi, who were in the middle of a storyline on NXT with Tatum Paxley as part of a faction known as Chemical X, or faction member of the Judgment Day, Carlito or Carlos Colon, who was, again, a part of the Judgment Day. Again, here were wrestlers in major storylines, and those wrestlers were abruptly released as part of the whole release schedule, along with other wrestlers like recently. There was a couple of other wrestlers who were released, like Valhalla and Blair Davenport, who had not been utilized recently, but were again also great talents. And this whole pattern of releases is one that many people were really upset about, especially as related to the release of R-Truth. Now, the release of R-Truth, again, is one that just has me scratching my head, because WWE basically was using R-Truth in major storylines, and he was over with fans for over 17 years, and as he was over with fans for over 17 years, he again was in a main event feud with the WWE champion just recently, and again was one that was a well-respected wrestler who was released as related to basically what I would believe to be arbitrary reasons by the WWE. Now, the reason possibly for all these releases possibly could be the new management structure run by TKO Holdings. Now, about 2 years ago, Vince McMahon, as he was caught up in this whole sexual harassment scandal, wound up passing the torch of WWE not to his son Triple H, John Paul Levesque, and Stephanie McMahon, but no, he, in an effort to spite his son-in-law and his daughter, basically kept the business from the family, but passed it over to the company Endeavor, and the company Endeavor formed the new corporation TKO Holdings, and instead of TKO Holdings looking to maintain the business as related to taking care of its people, what it did was look to apply corporate approaches to pro wrestling, and that's basically been seen as related to the overall change in the product ever since, I would say, about the 2025 Royal Rumble. Now, ever since the 2025 Royal Rumble, the entire mood and tone of WWE has changed, and instead of showing care for the talent and the people who made the product great, what we're seeing a lot of these days as related to WWE is a very indifferent approach to pro wrestling, a very indifferent approach to pro wrestling that doesn't focus on the people, but just focuses on the numbers And that whole corporate approach is possibly the main reason why R-Truth or Ron Killings was released from his contract, because what happened with WWE is that they're all these days about business and not looking to go out here and look at more important things like their overall talent and how they are over. And that could be basically detrimental to their business, because what that's doing is creating an environment where nobody feels safe as related to working at WWE, and that could have a devastating impact on the product, could have a devastating impact on the product because it could impact the overall morale of the talent and de-incentivize them from looking to go out here and perform to their best of their ability, because with the corporation in place, again, running things without regard for people, those people feel like that the company does not care about them, and since the company does not care about them, they become indifferent as related to their work, and that could overall do damage to the overall WWE product and take us back to the dark days of 2019 when WWE was absolutely terrible at that time. I remember that time before the pandemic. The booking was terrible, the matches were terrible, and the wrestlers themselves were trying to do the best that they could with what they had. And if it wasn't for the days after the pandemic, where we started to see the momentum with Cody and everything building as related to storylines, WWE basically would still be in a slump that basically AEW still is in right now. And right now I see WWE with this whole corporate approach basically undermining their own product, and they're undermining their own product by creating an environment where many of the wrestlers are going to be anxious for their jobs, because if you will go out here and release a talent that basically is over with the audience and is a well-liked person behind backstage and liked by management like R-Truth, then that doesn't really make many wrestlers feel secure about their jobs. Moreover, it doesn't really motivate them to bring their best to the ring, because what's happening when you have corporate running things is that corporate wants to dictate everything to everyone, and that leads to a very uninspired and manufactured product, similar to what we got in 2019, where we don't see the wrestlers again performing well as related to things, and we don't really get a quality product, and because nobody really cares. Now, when people heard about R-Truth's release, it basically caused a firestorm on social media and mainstream media. People were extremely upset to see R-Truth being released from his contract so coldly and so indifferently by WWE. A lot of people were not happy to see this being backstage. Even the world champion John Cena and many others like Rhea Ripley and many talent were not happy to see this, and The Miz was so upset because he knows that his contract may possibly be up, that he basically pulled all of his WWE associations off social media, and this is looking like a major backlash as related to things for WWE, similar to the plan that they had for WrestleMania to have The Rock wrestle Roman Reigns. And also, there was a lot of backlash even with another storyline that they did as related to The Rock and Cody's soul, which basically led to that awful WrestleMania 41. Again, WWE seems to be going on this corporate approach as related to wrestling, and they're not seeing how it's doing damage to their product. I mean, I saw the damage with Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble. Again, that was a wrong move. Cena should have won the Royal Rumble and then taken on Cody. And Jey Uso basically, again, while he is very popular, just is not somebody who is championship material just yet. He needs a little bit more seasoning. But they put a belt on him just because they wanted to, again, get the big pop as related to things. Again, manufacturing a pop, even though Gunther was already still over as champion. It was just getting his momentum because the booking was getting better for him. But still, what they did was put the belt on Jey Uso, mistake number one. Then they had Travis Scott come into the main event of the world title match between Cena and Cody Rhodes, and that basically was another mistake. And now they're basically, again, getting rid of a guy who basically was considered to be a face that was basically an ambassador to WWE, because what R-Truth represented in WWE was that ambassador, that guy who represented goodwill as related to the fans and to casual viewers. I mean, R-Truth was a guy. He was in movies like The Wrestler, which came out with Mickey Rourke. He was also, again, a legendary wrestler with a storied career in wrestling. I mean, he's a wrestler who has the NWA World Championship 2 times. I mean, the NWA World Championship is actually higher than the WWE Championship, and those who get that NWA Championship are considered to be some of the best wrestlers in the business. And not to mention, he was a guy with a great sense of humor and could basically engage a crowd with all of his antics. I mean, when you look at a Ron Killings segment these days with R-Truth, it basically is the levity that basically breaks up a serious situation and gets people, excited for matches. I mean, at 53, Ron Killings basically shows he is still got some stuff. I mean, he should have been booked like the way Sting was booked as related towards the end of his career. I'll give Tony Khan credit for one thing. He did book Sting very strongly and basically understood, Sting was an ambassador to wrestling and let him leave on top. But the ignominious way that they let Ron Killings leave was embarrassing for WWE. It's a bad look for them. I mean, here's a guy who's gone on to have, again, one of the longest and storied careers in wrestling. I mean, a guy who's gone on to win, again, prominent titles like the NWA Championship 2 times, won tag team titles, won titles with TNA, and has also won WWE titles like the 24/7 title 53 times, and then also gone on and won a U.S. Championship and tag team titles, and was basically recently featured in WrestleManias. I mean, this guy, R-Truth, basically has one of the best careers for a wrestler. I mean, I put him up there like number 2 under Booker T as related to black wrestlers, and Ron Simmons, again, as related to great wrestlers. I mean, those are the top black wrestlers. And again, Ron Killings, again, has had one of the best careers in wrestling, and WWE didn't treat him with respect. Because what corporate wants to do is make a statement, and that's where TKO Holdings may basically wind up undermining WWE as a brand, because it doesn't see its performers as people. But in the wrestling business, the business is all about people and how you treat people. I mean, WWE, here's a guy who went out here and put himself out there and, again, brought goodwill to the business, and instead of showing that guy respect, they go out here and release him. I don't care if it was about budget cuts. You just don't release people who are over and selling merchandise. You just don't do that at all. No, it's not smart for the business. I mean, the release of R-Truth is similar to reminding me of what Dan Didio did when he canceled books like Nightwing and Robin, which were selling. A big mistake, because in publishing, if a book is selling, you don't touch that book at all. Dan Didio back then said, I want to go in a new direction. And that's what TKO Holdings wants to possibly do, go in a new direction that's basically alienating viewers because you're going out here and mistreating the talent, and then looking to book storylines that nobody cares about and angles that nobody cares about. I mean, you're forgetting what makes wrestling popular is the people, and if you don't treat your people right, your whole brand is going to suffer the way it did back in 2019. That's what I believe is going to happen to WWE, because what they're doing is looking to participate in an agenda where they're looking to create anxiety among their staff. I mean, this is something many corporations look to do. They look to go out here and look to scare people. They look to scare people and have people in fear as related to their jobs, in the hopes of keeping them in a codependent relationship where they can hope to keep them working for them. But it never really works out, because scared people don't give you their best. No, scared people, in most cases, what they look to do is they look to find the door and look to go to your competitors. And the smart competitors look to go out here and create a professional environment where people can feel emotionally secure about their jobs, and secure so that they can go out here and perform and not have to worry about anything. I mean, basically, with this whole series of releases, Triple H and Nick Khan have basically given Tony Khan the advantage in this whole business situation. Because they're thinking about corporate and only thinking about profits, they're forgetting the wrestling business is about people. And with the wrestling business being about people, you got to be able to treat your people right if you want to keep top talent. I mean, if you want to keep top talent, you got to be able to treat your people right, because a scared roster is not a roster that performs very well. No, a scared roster is not one that's going to give you their very best, because if they feel that their job can be on the chopping block, even though they are over, even though they are selling merchandise, they are, again, very popular, they basically feel, hey, I don't have any incentive to stay at this company that is considered to be the top. And with your talent leaving, what's going to happen is your whole brand is going to sink, because you didn't understand that the business is not about profits. And when you put profits over people, your business is going to suffer. And that's where WWE is, and that's where Vince McMahon fumbled the football as related to selling his business. And now he's desperately scrambling, trying to get his business back. But the whole thing is, you never sell your business. No, if you have a business like I do with SJS Direct, you don't sell the business, because once the business becomes a part of corporate America, corporations are indifferent to people and have no regard to people. That's what happened here with Hollywood right now. Hollywood is struggling because you have a bunch of nerds and bean counters. Now, one wrestler basically made the same statement. They made him take it off social media, but I'm going to say it because I've said it all the time. Nerds and bean counters don't care about people. Nerds and bean counters, all they're thinking about is how they can maximize profits. Nerds and bean counters, all they're thinking about is numbers and statistics, and they're not really thinking about what makes a business work, like wrestling or entertainment. And businesses like wrestling and entertainment, again, are all about people having passion for what they do, people having passion for how they go about their business. I mean, people who basically, again, it's a place where people have to care about what they do. And one thing that makes people not care is them being treated like garbage. I mean, if you want to get people to not care about a job, the thing is to just treat them like a cog in the machine. And when it comes down to the wrestling business, again, people are not being treated right at WWE. I mean, I look at the way many of the wrestlers are being treated. I mean, people who work to get themselves over, not being able to get any sort of traction. I mean, you have a guy who's near the top of the card, like R-Truth, who's been featured near the top of the card, and you release him, and what does that send? A message to the locker room. It sends a message that it doesn't matter if you get over, you can basically be fired because your contract costs too much or you're too old, and that shouldn't be the case at all. I mean, other companies like TNA basically were hiring Sting at 50. Tony Khan was hiring Sting at 60 and still having him in the ring. I mean, basically, guys who are older like Matt and Jeff Hardy still working. Again, you want to foster, hey, this wrestler is somebody special, even though they've got, they're older or they are on their way, like Indy Hartwell, sadly. I mean, woman who was basically on her way to getting over but got released before she could get over. I mean, what WWE is doing right now is short-term booking on current superstars, but not focusing on building up your platform. This is where AEW fumbled the ball, because they focused heavily on older established stars instead of making new stars, and that's why their business is struggling. And now WWE is fumbling the football as related to its business, not understanding you need both young and older performers, because you need the veterans like Ron Killings there to show the younger guys like JD McDonough the game, and you need seasoned wrestlers, because that's what Vince used to do. Vince was high on one thing, and that is always putting a seasoned wrestler in a feud with a younger talent so that both of them could learn more about the ring and working in the ring. I mean, that's where WWE is making mistakes right now, because they're not really understanding how the business works as related to your people. And again, you want to treat your people right. You want to treat your people great. You want to create moments like with a send-off for a guy like Ron Killings. I mean, a veteran of the game, when he's ready to retire, what you do is you want to send him off like Sting. You want to send him off on a high note. You don't go out here and again have him leave in an ignominious fashion. That's just a bad look all around. No, you want a guy like Ron Killings to leave the way Sting wound up leaving the wrestling business, with respect, the same way the Undertaker left the ring, with respect, where people can see and have a closure as related to things. You want to see them have that closure. And again, the way Ron Killings was treated basically was reprehensible. I mean, this man, again, gave his best for over 17 years to the business, and the business basically crapped on him worse than what they did with the late Peter David in comics. And it was really disgusting to see how he was treated. I mean, if a guy is in a feud with your world champ, you don't release the guy who's in a feud with your world champ. No, you don't do that at all. No, you keep that momentum going. I mean, this guy basically, after having that main event, also put over Jeff Cobb. I mean, he's shown he's a good worker. He's shown he can get the crowd going, and that's very hard to do. And to just discard him, again, that was just egregious as I see it. I mean, just egregious all around to do a talent like that. And when companies do things like this, again, they reap what they sow, later than what they sow, greater than what they sow, when they alienate the audience, alienate the talent, and wind up with their brand tarnished, because as they were all greedy chasing money, they wind up making no money, because when you put profits over people, people stop caring about your product. And when people stop caring about your product, what they do is walk away from your product, because you show you have no passion for people, and you show no passion for caring about people. No, if there's no passion for people, there's no way you can run a wrestling business, because the wrestling business, like the entertainment business, is all about people and how you treat people. And that's what flies over the heads of the new owners of WWE, TKO Holdings, who may be in for a KO when it's time for their business to possibly go out here and try to report to those stockholders they're trying to pander to. Now, if you want to pick up my book that pays a tribute to pro wrestling, something I've watched ever since I was 11 years old, you can pick up my book, ISIS: The Main Event, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find ISIS: The Main Event at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me make more videos taking WWE or any wrestling organization to the barbecue, that few people who watch these kind of videos, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. Take a trip into the macabre world of goth modeling in the new millennium in this spooktacular Spinsterella story. Pick up your copy of Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl. The aspiring angel takes on a wicked teenage witch in this action-packed, all-new Esteemed series adventure. Pick up your copy of Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA from the Black Boule in this all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.